Hey everyone, welcome into another Webinar Wednesday. We're so excited to have you all here today to talk about the minimum age and service requirements for your federal retirement, which is why today I've brought in Anna Barnes and Grant Ostrander. Anna is our Director of Organizational Development and Grant is our Director of Operations. And they are both certified federal retirement consultants and are the best people to present this information to you today. Now, before we get started, make sure to check out the bottom right-hand corner of your screen for a little chat box where you can type in all of your questions, and our team members that are here live right now will get to them as soon as possible. And a quick disclaimer, keep in mind that this presentation is provided for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal advice. And because of this, it does not establish an attorney-client relationship, as Harris Federal is only striving to educate federal employees on their benefits. Now let's get started. Take it away, Grant and Anna.
Thanks, Elizabeth. I'm really happy to be here. Grant, really excited to do this webinar with you.
Yeah, always a good time.
All right, so we're going to be looking at understanding minimum age and service requirements today. So a few things we're going to go over. We're going to look at what a FERS regular retirement is and what that entails, minimum age and service requirements for that regular retirement. Then we're going to take a look at federal disability retirement and how to qualify for that benefit, some important considerations, and what type of age and service things can make you ineligible for a disability retirement. So first we're going to talk about a regular immediate retirement. Grant, would you care to kind of run through what that looks like for us? What are the main benefits of an immediate retirement?
Sure. So when the federal government switched over from the civil service system to the FERS system back in the mid-'80s, they went from a pure pension style benefit to a three-part retirement package that includes the FERS annuity, the thrift savings plan, as well as Social Security benefits. Prior to FERS coming into existence, civil service employees didn't get any matching funds into the thrift savings plan, and they didn't contribute to the Social Security administration benefits. So it was really just kind of a one-payer system. This kind of lets them diversify a little bit of their retirement and get a few extra benefits during their service career.
So in order to get these benefits, you have to meet some age and service requirements as a federal employee. And so, Grant, would you just talk about the three main age and service groups?
Sure. So in FERS, the most common age, or the one that they want you to take the most, is age 62. And most of the benefits have little extra bonuses or extra kind of, benefits to retiring at age 62. But your service career only has to be 5 years long to be eligible for an immediate retirement on your 62nd birthday. If you want to retire at age 60, you need to have 20 years, or the MRA, which is the minimum retirement age. And that's on a sliding scale, and they're moving it up to 57 years old. And that's on a sliding scale right now. But if you want to retire at your minimum retirement age, a full retirement requires a 30-year career at that point.
That's exactly right. And then they also offer an immediate retirement that is at an MRA plus 10. So you have to have 10 years of creditable service at your MRA, but you don't maintain the same amount of benefits as you would under a regular immediate retirement. And there's also a penalty for taking an MRA plus 10.
Yeah, it can be expensive. It can still be a good option for some folks, but it's a fairly expensive option.
For sure. All right, so here's the minimum retirement age chart that Grant was talking about, and you can see that your MRA is based on the year that you were born. So currently, people who were born in 1966 and 1967 are coming up on their MRA. So you can see that that's 56 and 4 months or 56 and 6 months. We'll be sending these slides out in an email after this webinar, so you can refer back to this chart to see what your MRA actually is. So now we're going to talk a little bit about disability retirement, what it is, and how your MRA and years of service play into disability retirement. So Grant, why don't you tell us a little bit about who disability retirement is for?
Sure. So disability retirement is for any FERS career employee that has a medical condition that's preventing them from completing at least one major aspect of their employment. That's kind of a complicated way of saying if you've got a medical condition that's keeping you from doing your job all the way, then disability retirement may be for you.
Okay, great. And then for disability retirement, there are a few eligibility requirements and eligibility criteria. For eligibility requirements, before you apply for this benefit, you need to have 18 months of creditable civilian service. You need to be an employee classified as a FERS employee, so you must be covered under FERS. And then you must have a medical condition that arose or worsened while in your FERS position. In addition to these eligibility requirements, there are 7 qualification criteria, and these are what OPM are going to look at and make a decision on when they're reviewing an application for disability retirement. Grant, do you want to talk us through those qualification criteria?
Sure. The thing that is important here, I think, to note is that understanding these criteria helps you know whether or not you might be eligible to apply and be approved. But there are some nuances to them, so it's not as easy as just going check, check, check. We have to be able to prove these things. We have to be able to submit things and applications through the right channels to get these things documented appropriately. And I think that's where a lot of people really struggle with it. But the important thing to know is that you have to have a medical condition that's been diagnosed. That means you've sought treatment for it, and someone who is a doctor or medical professional has said, you have this. I'm pretty good at self-diagnosing, but I think sometimes it's good to go see the doctor and let them actually tell you that you've got this medical condition. So we can't just say I'm hurting. We have to say I have a torn rotator's cuff. So I think that's a little bit of an easy distinction to make, but one that is hard for a lot of people to understand. So if you're thinking that you're having a hard time, it's important to go see your doctor. I think that's number one. A service deficiency. This one's got nuance to it as well, but effectively what we're saying is there's at least some part of your job with regards to performance, attendance, or conduct that's affected by your medical condition from that number 1 category. And that's what causation really has to do with number 3, is that service deficiency is caused by that medical condition. And that we expect that medical condition and that service deficiency to continue for at least the next 12 months. That's number 4. Number 5 is that the disability has to have arisen or worsened to the point that you can no longer perform that position while you were a federal employee. It can't have been something that you started your position in the government with, but at the same time, you don't have to have it work-related, or the very origin of that injury doesn't have to have started while you're a federal employee. Just the fact that it's gotten so severe that you can't keep doing your job. Number 6 really has to do with the fact that your agency can't accommodate you without removing your essential duties. And number 7 is that they can't reassign you to a vacant position in the same basic grade and pay levels within your commuting area. So, those are the 7 criteria, and there's a lot of things to them. We'd love to go over those with anybody who has any questions about them, but we do love to share that with people. So if you're in limbo or you don't know what to do, these are a great reference point to kind of go, do I maybe meet some of these things? And maybe it's time to get a consultation with us.
So a few things to consider when you're talking about minimum retirement age and disability retirement. The first thing that I want to look at is meeting your MRA and the possibility of taking an MRA plus 10 retirement. Some people find themselves in a position where they are unable to perform the duties of their job, and a disability retirement is something maybe they don't know about or is going to take too long for them to get. Some people choose to take an MRA plus 10 retirement. However, it can still be beneficial to apply for a disability retirement after getting an MRA plus 10. Grant, do you want to talk about why that might be?
Sure. So if someone needs to leave service right away and they take their MRA plus 10, but they want to go back and have that amended, it can be very worthwhile for a couple of reasons. One is that the disability retirement will likely be significantly higher than the MRA plus 10. And they'd be eligible for the back pay between when they initially retired and took that MRA plus 10 and now, the difference between what that MRA plus 10 was, and the disability retirement. And then going forward, obviously, they'd be eligible for the higher annuity.
That's exactly right. And then just something really important to note, if you have met your minimum retirement age and 30 years of service and apply for a disability retirement, you can still be approved, but your annuity is going to be calculated at the regular retirement rate.
Yeah, that's your earned rate.
Not the disability retirement rate. Another really important thing to take a look at here is reassignment offers when you're pursuing disability retirement. Your agency is required to search for a reassignment that meets the reassignment offer criteria. But taking an offer or not taking an offer can impact your disability retirement application. So Grant, could you tell us a little bit about what happens if you're offered a valid reassignment or even a non-valid offer of reassignment?
Right. So this has got about a million ways it can go. And so as we talk about this, understand we're talking about it in the most general way possible, and that it's really important that if you get offered any type of reassignment, that you consult with an attorney immediately. And you're allowed to tell somebody like, great, thanks for this offer. I'm going to consult with my attorney and I'll get back with you tomorrow. I mean, you're allowed to do that. You're not required to sign that on the spot.
That's right.
So a couple of things, if the offer is a valid offer and it meets all the criteria, you're not required to accept it. But if you don't accept it, you will forfeit your right to file for disability retirement. Because reassignment is the number 7 criteria out of those 7, if they offer it to you and you say no thanks, it means that they've done everything that they're required to do to take care of you, and they don't owe you a disability retirement anymore. I think the hardest part is that many offers can have an appearance at first glance of being a valid reassignment offer, when in truth, they've got a problem with them, or there's something about it that isn't apples to apples with the current job, and you might lose something in that process. And if you accept that job, if you want to go back and file for disability retirement, now you're filing for it from the new job you just accepted instead of from your old job that you couldn't do anymore. So it really complicates things and muddies the water. But you are not required to accept a job that doesn't meet those reassignment offer qualifications. So that's why it's so important when you get offered a job to get with an attorney. We get calls every day from our clients. Hey, I got a job offer, and I think that's something that we try to navigate with them from a big picture perspective and make sure it's something that either works really well for their future or we help them avoid a really big pitfall.
Yep, that's exactly right. Offers of reassignment, like Grant said, can often look like they're valid, but there are a lot of nuances to what an agency will offer you. So having another set of eyes on that is always really helpful. So we're going to take a look at Jacob. He's an example federal employee. So Grant, would you tell us a little bit about Jacob?
Okay, so when we take a look at Jacob here, we see some things that are kind of jump out at us. First, age 57, high 3 average is $62,000, born in 1965, 32 years of service under FERS as a letter carrier with the United States Postal Service. Here's some injury details. He severely injured his knee while working on the job for the Postal Service. He underwent a surgery but was never able to return to full duty status. And the Postal Service is unable to accommodate his medical restrictions from his doctor. The area I'm going to focus on here is really kind of just those basic details of who he is and his status in employment. And we notice a couple things is that he is 57 and he has 32 years of service with the Postal Service, which means he has met his MRA plus 30 requirements to be eligible for immediate retirement. That means that it's likely not a best case scenario for him to file for disability retirement because he's eligible for immediate retirement. There is a really important note here before we move on. In this situation, it's most likely the case that disability retirement won't help him, but there are a number of very nuanced cases, especially if he's on workers' compensation benefits, where he may still need to file for disability retirement. And there can even be some back pay situations where that's important. It's too many details and too many nuances to get into right here, but that's a great opportunity for someone to give us a call and let us walk through that situation with them.
Absolutely, Grant. So, it really comes down to which retirement is the right one for you. And like Grant said, there are so many different scenarios, and it's truly an individual decision that you have to make based on your circumstances. Disability retirement can offer lots of great benefits, but if you meet your MRA and service requirements, it's really important to know that when you are approved for retirement, it's going to be paid at the regular rate, not the disability rate. That is not to say that there are not circumstances in which you should still pursue that disability retirement benefit, though.
Absolutely, Anna. I first started doing this almost 20 years ago, and I've been involved with over 7,000 cases for federal disability retirement here. And so we've seen so many different versions and variances that our goal is always to meet with each client and figure out where they are, both in their career, in their job, in their medical recovery from an injury, or just their medical journey, if they've got something that's degenerative. There are just so many different little nuances that can make a huge difference as to what your options are and what your best bets are. And so that's, I think, our number one goal whenever anyone calls us, is to try to walk through that with each person and not just fit them into a box that, this is this and this is that. It's so nuanced. We really do want to take time with people and help them make a good decision for themselves, even if that means, staying at work or using a different firm. We want people to find solutions that are going to be, most beneficial to them.
Yep, you're absolutely right. And I know that we take great pride in making sure that we understand each individual situation. So we're not, like you said, fitting anybody into a mold. And our case managers have seen these nuanced cases and know so much about this benefit that it is a huge help to somebody that's trying to navigate this decision to have someone on their side that knows the different pitfalls and possibilities along the way. All right, so to go over what we talked about, if you are struggling to work and you have a diagnosed medical condition, federal disability retirement could be the right option for you. There are eligibility requirement and qualification criteria set by the OPM, but I really urge you, if you think that this might be the benefit for you, give us a call, because we will, like I said, we'll talk with you, we'll figure out your individual situation and determine whether or not this might be a possibility for you.
It's always fun to chat with you about these highly technical aspects of federal disability retirement. Everyone who's listening or watching, we just want to encourage you, don't wait. There are time-sensitive deadlines on all this stuff. And if you have questions, at least call and get those questions answered. We'd love to chat with you. You can get a free consultation with us to go over your specific case. And so we want to give you a better understanding of where you are and what your options are. So give us a call, check out our website, chat with us on our website. We've got folks that would be happy to go over that with you.
And we also have people answering questions in the chat right now live. So if you have any questions now, go ahead and ask there. If we can't get to it, like Grant said, please give our office a call and set up your free consultation. Thank you so much, Grant. This has been wonderful. Such a pleasure.
Thanks, Hannah. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, guys. I know that was a lot of information, and it went very in-depth into understanding the minimum age and service requirements for retirement. However, it's a very important aspect when thinking about when is the right time for you to retire. But keep in mind, there are a lot of caveats pertaining to each individual retirement case. So please give our office a call, and we can help walk you through this process and answer any questions that you may have. Also, don't forget to check out the resource tab on our website to stay up to date with our federal content. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on the next Webinar Wednesday.